whatever project. One of the hardest things about my journey, my walk in general, I mean, there's a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? But in general, I would say, in my own community. I say that because, all right, for instance, majority of black people, it's fair to say, they're either Baptist or Baptist light. Baptist light meaning something similar to Pentecostal or non-denominational, things of that nature, right? So when they find out like you're not that or you left that, it almost comes across as you're saying that they're doing something wrong or something like that, and kind of am, you know what I'm saying? But that's probably the hardest part, you know what I'm saying? Because you try to explain that, I mean, when you're just trying to explain it, it's hard to because it comes across the wrong way. Like people have no idea what you're talking about. When you try to, they look at like you're leaving the norm for something else. And you try to explain to them like, nah, man, like, I feel that the furthest you go back in church history, like the people who Apostle John preached to, like they probably had a more distinct and true form of keep it down, you know what I mean? I feel like they had a more true, pure sense of what the apostles meant, what they worshiped, things of that nature. So when you start studying back and you look at what they believed in, things of that nature, you realize that, things that I hold to don't align. And what should I do? Should I say, what, they were wrong back then? I mean, some things you might feel that way, you know? It's not that easy, though. It's not that easy to say the historic church is wrong on various things and list it when you really compare what you believe compared to what they held. It's not that easy. So there's that, and then things of that nature where you get confronted. And you have to realize that. Like, I have a friend who, you know what I'm saying, went to Bible school and all this stuff, you know. And when I started studying, you know, I'm talking to him. I'm like, is your college more Arminian leaning or Calvinist leaning? Historic terms, you know what I'm saying? Looked at me like I was an idiot. He was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm sure we do. I'm sure we study that. I'm like, nah, it's a question. Which one? Like, which side do you fall on the matter, you know? Have an answer. You can say neither. I mean, I'm a Lutheran. I fall on neither camp. But it's not looked at or valued in that sense, or people look at you like, nah, and then you go into the aspect of sacraments, church history, and things of that nature, and people don't want to hear that. And it kind of puts you on the outs in a sense, where you're like, you're the guy with the funny beliefs, or the not unique beliefs, not encompassed by the whole, where you're Methodist, more likely Baptist. Got a couple black Catholics, you know what I'm saying? They sprinkle around it, you know what I'm saying? Like you could find a person with a third nipple in the world, you know what I'm saying? Like they're there, but they're not that common either. But at least not in my hood, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure in other cities there are, but it ain't common for black Lutherans anywhere in America. It's not common. You're always that sixth finger, you know what I mean? But yeah. So in general, that's the hard part, is even relating. So it ends up, you have your own dynamic where when you're at your home church and you're the only black person, you have that dynamic. But then you have the dynamic of when you're trying to talk to people who are like you or have come from the background you come from, you kind of run into pushback because they're stuck in their views. And it's okay. I mean, they heard what their pastor said and they believed it since they were a kid. And you try to explain to them like, well, I'm telling you what someone said in the year 200. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally one generation away from the apostles, and 3rd century, 4th century, 5th century, 6th century, 7th century, 8th century, 9th century. Like, I'm covering hundreds of years that my viewpoint and my belief has been held by the historic church, and you're quoting somebody who's literally 25 years older than you. I'm just saying, but that's one of the hard things. One of the hard things is you really kind of put yourself out there where you're like isolated in a sense because you don't fit the norm for your culture or your community, and then in the cultural community you're in, you're not the norm either. So it's a catch-22. It's a catch-22, But one has to be faithful to their convictions, I hold to it because the conviction of what the scripture says and what the historic church has taught on the matter. And it is what it is. It is what it is on the matter,
advent of the new South Africa and the African leadership, an interesting aspect has come into the church, that we have moved from being strictly, in terms of liturgy and music, strictly like German. We have revamped our singing, mostly in those churches that are led by indigenous pastors, that the singing is really African.
One thing I do find encouragement in, and it's kind of weird because I don't consider myself African, more so black, that's a whole different conversation, but it's seeing that in Africa, it's thriving, like it's growing, like people are getting this true confession and seeing them worship and their expression of faith, and that's like real encouraging for me, you know. And the reason why, part 2, man, I'll post that up later. God bless. Wittenberg Project.